Oh, let me explain a little bit. The sound.
It sounds like birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like birds.
garden.
Yeah. That is in fact the bubbles that is coming from the ice.
Wow.
But there's something like some screams in the background. Then like these high-pitched peaks. It's like needles, and then you have like a second layer there.
I think it's just different size of holes where the ice or big different big bubbles.
Of course, this glacial activity is in fact a very dramatic and catastrophic event because we are looking at a melting glacier. Sound gives us an understanding on infrastructure as not just being an object, but also the effect. It's not just something that accompanies the material existence of infrastructure, but it's something that belongs to the essence of the infrastructure, the pervasiveness of the effects.
We have here now 4 channels.
Okay.
And we can listen differently.
Different mix, yeah?
Yes. Now they are all together.
Okay.
Okay.
This is hydrophone. And now is geophone.
Okay.
It sounds like it's a lot of bubbles in this water. I wanted to know what this is. It might be methane bubbles.
The bubbles.
Yeah. Because you can see the soil here. It's not sand. It's just an old layer of grass and so on. When the vegetable get rotten underneath,
Right.
and it make methane.
About the CO2 footprint and the way how every act of consumption, no matter what, creates some CO2 emissions. Is it better to think about this as an individual responsibility or rather as something that should be judged in aggregate, say on the level of the community or the state or the region? I think it would be a mistake to allocate responsibility for the emissions individually, because then we end up in actually acts of very bad injustice. Like there's almost nothing happening instead of some simple machine doing a job that it was doing basically since the end of 19th century. Sound gives us in this sense an ability to perceive the slow change, the change that is imperceptible visually. You can hear that process that is actually...
Yeah, of course, because you hear it inside.
Yeah. Like the gas is now going up. Yeah,
exactly.
And then to the chips.
Yes.
Every technology creates its own accidents or unintended consequences. Like invention of the train is also invention of the train crash. And I wonder whether the invention of this kind of like extractive infrastructure, whether the accident that is integral to it, which is the climate change, is not also an invitation to actually, create a different kind of society. The problem that we're talking about is unsolvable with one technological fix, for sure. But I think that to have this technology really working on a scale that we need institutions that we don't have at the moment. We need kind of politics that is based around cooperation and is based around actually transcending the fragmented interests of the nation states. My thoughts drift to this idea of thinking about this place as a ritual place of a certain kind of burial. It's a kind of process that emancipates farming from soil, meaning that it emancipates it potentially from the planet. Finally, we can get out of our dependence on the soil, on the ground on which we stand. We can think about farming again as a kind of care, as a kind of production of not just food, but of biodiversity, for example. And how to make these artificial ecosystems more complex rather than trivial, as it were also back then with the invention of farming that was basically a trivialization of the very complex environments people lived in before. The deep sound is also related to the deep time, the geological time. And the discovery of this geological time is actually linked to the discovery of catastrophes in the planetary past and also extinction events. And so what we have here is like a model example of how some extinction events perhaps started.